Hey, it is Thursday night and I just got home from work and I came out to the garden and I thought there is so much to do here, but I'd rather do a video and tell you about what I'm doing and how the garden's growing. So that's the things we're going to talk about right now. All right, so I'm going to start this video with you looking at me, and then I'm just going to switch it around to some of the plants so we can talk about the things that are growing well and the things that aren't growing so good. And let me tell you why I think they are the way they are. All right, so I think the one thing that is growing the very, very best would be the squash, the summer squash, the zucchini, the cocozella, and the caserta. And these are the zucchini plants, and I've already picked like 3 off of there and taken them to my mom. And when I got here today, I think that I've got, well, you can see some growing there. You can see quite a few that are growing here. And then I think there's one more that today or tonight can probably be picked. Well, maybe another day. But anyway, they're growing really well. And then down here are the yellow summer squash, and they're doing okay. They're a little bit slower, I'd say, but the plants look good. Well, most of the plants look good. That one doesn't look very good. And I found a squash bug over here the other day, and I thought I squished him before he could get anything on the leaves. But maybe, I guess I'll go through and probably check all those leaves and make sure that I don't have any squash bugs. Right over here are the cocozella, and I've already picked like 3 cocozella, and there's one right back there hiding underneath that leaf, and he's ready to come out. And then these are those caserta, and they were the last ones that we planted, and they are, I mean, some of them are doing okay. I think we're going to have some fruit. Some of them, these were the last, and they're just a little, they're little, but we'll get them staked up a little better, and I think they'll be okay. But look at these poor little things. Those are those cantaloupe. And I thought for sure that they would do better than they are, but they're not doing good at all. I think this one right here, I'm pretty sure is dead. This one right down here. And I think that one back up there is dead. So I'm going to run to the nursery tomorrow, and I'm going to see if they might happen to have any more cantaloupe plants, because, you know, it's only the 1st of July. We might as well keep planting. All of those over there, the big plants, those are the Brussels sprouts. They're doing great. I like geraniums, that's why that's there. Down here through the middle are some more Brussels sprouts. But look at these the cucumbers right here. They have struggled, but the last 2 days when it's been really hot, I think that that's what they needed. I think they needed more heat, because they're starting to grow a little bit and get a little better. So I'm going to start training them to start climbing the trellis. So I hope they do better. So if we walk out here, then the tomatoes are doing great. And I've got all kinds of different types. These are the champion ones. Not sure which ones these are. But, I mean, I've got tomatoes on all the tomato plants. Just about every single one of them. And some of them are fairly big, you know. We can get down in there and see? Those are nice sized tomatoes. But one of the things I did or haven't done is I haven't come out and make sure that they're growing up through the wires, through the baskets. So just keep on track of that, because otherwise, see this big one that I'm going to have to try and get back in there? I'm afraid if I try to do it right now, I'm going to break it. So I'll probably just wait another day and then try to just bring it on, try to get it to grow on the outside. But that's why you have tomato baskets, is to keep them upright and to keep them from growing up haphazard. So just keep that in mind. Come out there and move them around a little bit. See, we've got more tomatoes here, and there's some more tomatoes here, and they're doing really well. There's tomatoes on every single plant. So I'm excited about that. And then clear over there in the black tub are the heirloom tomatoes that I did, the mortgage lifters. And so I think that they were just really kind of tall, but they're starting to branch out. So I think we're going to be okay with them too. And then I have some more but they're clear over there by the wishing well. And they're doing okay also. So yes, I do. I have a lot of tomatoes. Peppers. Peppers are doing okay. This one had something eating it, and so we put some neem oil on it, and they're starting to come back out of it. And these I didn't cut the heads off of these guys, and I need to get that done, because if you'll notice, they're just tall, and they don't have a lot of leaves. But I want you to look and see at these. Now, these are the ones that I cut the tops off, and look at how bushy they're getting. Even the smaller ones are getting to be really bushy. And everything on the west side of this bed is hot peppers, and everything on the east side are sweet peppers. So all kinds of things. Right over there in those oak barrels, I don't know if you can tell what they are, those are watermelon. And I was worried about those watermelon plants, but they've started climbing. They've started going. See, watch. You see that one climbing right out of the container. So I think they just needed the heat. And so I'm really glad the heat's finally here. So over here in this bed, it gets some afternoon shade. And I was worried about it, what we had. But these great big plants here and right here, those are those female hardy kiwi, and they are doing great. And there's that little male kiwi, hardy kiwi, and he's pretty small and he's struggling a little bit, but these struggled last year too. The cabbage are starting to set on heads. Got cabbage there. We've got cabbage here. And see, they're starting to put heads together. So that's a good thing, but we've got cabbage here, cabbage there, here, everywhere a cabbage. More peppers, some more tomatoes. Now the beets. The beets that I planted outside have not done well at all. So I think that I'm going to reseed these beds around the plants that there already is. And maybe, hopefully that will help. But the ones that are growing are doing well. So kind of crazy. The beans. Remember when we planted the beans? There's the beans, and they're coming up. They're coming up really well. We might have a bare spot, right here, a little couple places, but for the most part, they're just coming up really, really well. And I'm pretty happy about that. Now there's the onions. So I think these are can't tell which ones they are. I think that those are the red onions. Those are the yellow onions, and I think these right here are the white onions. Now, you haven't seen the onions for a while. Oh, I know what this one is. That's that mixed bed. It's got all kinds of different stuff in it. That's why there's not a label on it. But if you noticed, the onions are now in swimming pools, as are those 3 beds over there and the 2 beet beds. And the reason we did that was because I read an article where a guy was comparing 3 things. So let me explain what those 3 things were. So he was comparing grow bags, earth boxes, and oh goodness, now I won't remember what the 3rd thing was. Oh, just regular containers. And he said that by far the grow bags are the most economical because they don't cost a lot to start with. And the wind is starting to blow, so if you can't hear me, that's the reason. Late afternoon wind. But he said that the grow bags were by far the most economical when it came to money. However, the water goes and seeps outside of those grow bags. Well, duh. I knew that because it was going on in my greenhouse. But then I come out here and I put them on the ground, and I don't put anything to catch the water. So we bought swimming pools. And I put them, and the onions started to grow better. The beans don't have them. And this one mixed onion doesn't have any. But other than that, the beets have got them, and I think it's made quite a difference. I should have known that. Should have just known that they were going to need something under them. But sometimes your brain is not as good as you think it should be. And that's kind of what I'm at. So this weekend, we're going to be putting in the water line to the berry patch, which I'm really excited about, because then I'm going to take out the berries that are in the greenhouse and get them all planted. And I sure appreciate my son Kyle for coming out and doing that. I think I've got some spruce trees that I'm going to plant that are going to be part of a windbreak. And maybe we'll talk about that this weekend. And also I'm going to plant some apple trees, peach trees, and plum trees in areas of my orchard where trees had died. And so we're going to be busy. I'm probably going to need 4 days to do all this work, but I'm excited about it still. I love my garden. And you know, sometimes very little gives you joy, but if you can find something, if it's, you know, planting something and watching it come up, or watching the berries on a berry. I've got raspberries in the greenhouse that I'm just going to tell the kids they need to come pick tomorrow and eat. There's not a lot of them, but I don't want to put them outside with starting new roots and have them trying to put on berries. So I'll have those kids come eat those. And the strawberries are doing okay. There's a few of them that are struggling, but for the most part, they're doing good. And the strawberries are really good. I've tasted them a few times. So I think that, you know, I want to tell you something. When I come out in the garden, it gives me great joy. And I think it's for two reasons. Number one, I think it gives me joy because I like to grow things. I like to see things take root. I like to see them put on fruit. I like them to grow. I just like that. I used to, when my husband was still alive, I used to go out in the orchard and I would come in just smiling and laughing, and he'd say, well, what's the deal? And I said, there are new buds on my fruit trees. He never got it. But those who like to grow get that, because I love to see new growth. And I love the fact that a lot of these things that we're growing here in this garden, come August, September, October, they're going to be providing fruit and vegetables and the starts of meals for my family. And we'll be canning a lot of different things come the end of the month of August. And I think I'll talk to you about that too. I learned last year how to pressure can, and it gives you so many more avenues on how to prepare your food and to preserve it. And so that's pretty cool. And I've already got some stuff in my freeze dryer. My mom went out to the city the other day and she went to a place called Nikki's. And it's a restaurant supply kind of store, but it's for mostly when there's surplus. And she called me on the phone and she said, hey, I bought 160 pounds of chicken. Okay. And she said, don't sweat it so much. It's thighs and it's boneless, it's skinless. All we got to do is cut it up and put it in the jars and we'll get that canned. It's like, okay. But I brought you a present. Well, what present did you bring me, Mom? She said, I bought you a bucket of cantaloupe and a bucket of mango. Okay. So I got those buckets and I cut the cantaloupe up and freeze dried it. And I got, I think, half a gallon jar and 2 quart jars. And it's pretty good. And I think it would be a great snack. And now I'm going to go do the mango. The thing about freeze drying is that for the most part, it does a lot of the stuff itself. But there is things like you need, I don't have a pump, an oil-free pump. I have the old pump. And so I need to drain the oil and get it go through a system where it takes all the water and all the stuff out of it so that I can reuse it. Just filter system. Yeah, I'll get it. But anyway, so I'm going to go in there and get my freeze dryer ready, and then I'm going to cut up the mango. And maybe one day I'll take you on a tour of my canning shed, because I'm pretty proud of that too. Ken built it for me just a couple years before he died. And I'll talk to you about some of the things that Ken did 2 years before he died that now I look back and think he kind of knew something was going to happen. So y'all have a good day. I hope your gardens are growing. I hope that you have a great 4th of July weekend. And I'm going to work in the yard. So we'll talk to you on Saturday.